Hi there, folks, and welcome to another episode of Michael's Backyard Marina. Well, I did something about, let's call it over 3 years ago now. It was on the banana boat. I didn't want to drill any holes in that beautiful, pristine fiberglass that was on the back of that boat. So I made what's called a drilless stern mount or transducer mount, drilless transducer mount. They sell them all over the place. Now, I'm going to start off by saying, don't waste your time making one yourself, like I'm going to do. But I have all the materials here other than the glue, so why wouldn't I go ahead and make one myself? I'm going to show you how I'm going to do it, and I'm going to show you some of the engineering behind it. Now we're getting ready to go into the dark shed. I'm going to turn my light on here. Now, as you can see right here, that's the transducer mount glued to the back of my fiberglass boat. No holes in the fiberglass itself, just holes in the transducer mount, which is I'm using Starboard here. So I'm going to show you how to make one of those and how I installed it, and I got several boats to do it on. Now, the reason I'm showing you guys how to do this is you may have a boat that the transducer has been installed improperly. And you know, it could be a transducer mount like this one here. Now, this one's been installed properly. It's not a problem. It's flush with the bottom of the boat. I have had situations where the transducer mount was mounted way too far below the boat. There's not enough adjustment in the mount. Somebody just did it wrong. They put 3 holes in it in the transom, and last thing you want to do is put more holes in it, right? So I have used this method before to actually put a fresh piece on and cover up the existing 3 holes and not put any more holes in. The glue will seal up the 3 holes that are there, and you can put as many holes as you want in the Starboard, and in worst case scenario, you can just grind the whole thing off and get it back down to bare metal again, or bare paint, or bare fiberglass, you know, gel coat, and start over again. Now, one of the reasons I'm making these again today, because the test of time has shown that the one has survived freezing cold weather. We've had 3 winters we've been through for this particular boat, and I've been on the water multiple times with the old 35 horse on the back of there, and it holds. It's not going anywhere. So I'm going to do it again, and I need one for the good enough. And a buddy of mine that I traded the big green boat that you guys saw recently on the channel, he's getting ready to put a depth finder on that boat, or fish finder on that boat. There again, he's not looking to use it for fish finding so much as making sure he understands the depth of the water he's in. Because the worst thing you can do, what kind of bird is that? You guys see that? Just soaring around up there. It's like a turkey buzzard maybe. But you know, if you're not real familiar with the lake, and you can get yourself in a lot of trouble as far as destroying your prop, your skeg, your lower unit on your motor. So let's go in here and start cutting up some material, and I'm going to show you how to make one of these. It's going to be a relatively simple, but once you see it, you go, ah, that's no big deal at all. So let's get after it. Now, the Starboard I have here is a leftover chunk of no particular size. I'm going to go ahead and start. You know, I'm not sure how big I even want to make these. Nice thing about Starboard, it works just like wood does. How big should I make these? Maybe we'll make these a 6x6, just to give us plenty of room for anything we want to do. Now, what I've done here is taken one of my old 3/4 inch wood bits, and I sanded down the tip a little bit and put a little bit of edge back on it so it actually drills some more. But I didn't want it, because these come out to a long point, and I don't want to drill through this. So I modified that just for this purpose. Then I set my drill press so it will only go down so far and not break through, just like that. Now this is some down and dirty stuff. I'm telling you, you don't have to lay this out or anything. You can just, I'm gonna put like an 8-hole pattern here. So I'm gonna put one like right here. Then what I do is I got a ball Dremel. And I'm just going to take this ball Dremel and go in here and create an undercut. I'll show you what it looks like afterwards. Now just to give a little demonstration of what we've done here, obviously we've created a plate about 6 inches square for this particular one. And I put these 4 3/4 inch holes down so deep. Now, cross-sectional view of that hole is going to look a lot like this after you drill it, right? And yeah, we didn't drill all the way through. We came down about yay deep. But then what I did with that Dremel is I undercut this like that. Now, what's that? Because the glue will not hold to this surface very well. I mean, it holds okay, but not enough that you want to trust your transducer on it. And so what I've done is this undercut that's all the way around here, 360 around this hole, there's an undercut. And what that's going to do, that's this undercut here. What that's going to do, we're going to fill this full of glue. And this will all fill in, you know, this whole thing with glue, right? And then this is the boat side here. This side here is the boat. This side here will be your transducer side. And what it's going to do is fill in, and it's going to bond with all this glue we're putting over the back and the sanded part of the boat. And we're going to have 8 points of contact that are actually locked in, like fingers reaching underneath here and holding it. So that bond, once it's fully cured, that bond won't break. And it's attached to everything else that's glued to the boat as well. And it will hold it on there securely. Anyway, in case, and this is how the ones that you buy are made too. There's the same concept. Nothing too rocket science-y about that, right? Now for a few finishing touches that I didn't put on my other ones, I'm gonna put a rounded edge on this side just to make it look, you know, better, maybe. I don't know. Let's just do that. There you have it, one block prepped and ready. All we gotta do is pull off this clear backing here when we apply the glue, and we're good to go. If there's a little fuzzies in here, that's not a big deal. As long as this thing sits down flat, that's the main thing that counts. Next step, we'll get to the boat and all the preparation steps to get this glued on. And next, I need to go buy some glue. All right, folks, there's a drop cord right here in my face, isn't there? Let's see what I can do here. There we go. Hi there, folks. We made it back out here to the old 1967 StarCraft. This has the Mercruiser 120 inboard outboard with a Mercruiser stern drive. It's a beautifully preserved old boat. It actually runs really, really well. This is the boat we're going to put the transducer mount onto today. Now this boat here has 0 holes in it. 0 holes in the back of the transom, except for where this mounts and the kicker motor mounts. So the last thing we want to do is get down here and start drilling holes near the bottom of this boat and putting holes where they don't need to be. Just saying, right? They don't need to be there. So we're not going to put any there. We're going to actually take this drilless mount and we're going to glue it on here. The one we just got done making. We're going to glue it on here. And then we'll be ready to rock and roll, screwing the new transducer mount on there. And we can put, maybe someday that transducer, and he wants a bigger, instead of this Garmin Striker, he wants to get a bigger fish finder, maybe a bigger one, and he gets a bigger transducer or a different mount. You can screw into this stuff multiple times and not worry about, destroying and putting all kinds of holes and putting all kinds of silicone and stuff in the back of your boat and have a, chance for it to leak. That's where this comes in handy. So as soon as he gets out here, we'll discuss where we're going to put it. And then I'll get down here and start gluing on it, grinding and gluing and preparing the surface. And I'll walk you through that. And we'll get this thing put into place. And then he can start running his wiring for his transducer and the mount and all that fun stuff. Because we might actually end up putting a hole up near the top here, which is a safe place. But we can put a small hole to run the transducer through to hook it up to the actual fish finder itself. Now the one we'll be installing today is called the Garmin Striker Vivid 4CV plus transducer. 4-inch fish finder with GPS. I like the GPS thing. The nice thing about the GPS, it'll actually tell you how fast you're going and all that kind of fun stuff. Plus it'll show you where the fish are. It has a little bit of mapping capability as well. So it's actually a pretty nice, it's very economical. And most of all, it'll tell you how deep your water you're in, and the water temperature, and other stuff. So it's not a bad one for the money. I've got this on my banana boat, and also we're going to be putting this on the Good Enough as well. Okay, what we've done here to this point, we've taken our block, got it in the position that we want on the boat. We've actually drilled a couple of relief areas for rivets, so they won't be interfering, so this thing can lay up flat against the boat like this. Took my Sharpie, drew a line around it. Now we've taken the Sharpie line and laid tape all the way around it, so as not to go outside that line, so we don't scrape off any paint that, will be seen outside the block. That would look terrible. Now on the Good Enough boat, this is way too fancy, but on this boat, we got to keep it nice. There we go. Now this is a lot of surface area for this to adhere to. So we're in good shape there. Once we've got it this far, we'll take the acetone and we'll wipe it down. And that's going to clean any kind of debris off of there. That's going to prevent this from, the glue from adhering to it really well. Also wipe down your external areas here as well, because when we go to tape this on, we want the tape, when we go to put this on here to hold this so it holds the plastic piece on, you want this to be able to stick pretty well too. And if it's dirty, that won't happen. All right, next step is gluing. All right, what I'm doing here is I've expelled the entire contents of 2 containers of JB Weld 5-minute epoxy on here, the clear epoxy. and mixing it up very thoroughly. Next, we're going to cover the entire back of this, but first of all, squeegeeing this in here and filling in all the holes first. And full to overfull is what you want to do here. Because remember, you want that glue, or as in JV Weld world, liquid weldment, to get down in those undercuts thoroughly. Now, if I've got all these now full to overfull, and I want to make sure the whole back of this thing is covered. Then, back up here, we're going to quickly put it up here in place. Now that you got your tape outlining you, you can easily just kind of wiggle it around a little bit, put some pressure on it. And that'll pretty much lock it in place. Now I've got paper towels on the garage floor here to catch all the glue that's going to be dripping. And as I'm holding this in place, I'm going to tape it down. And don't be afraid to use too much tape. Won't hurt a thing. And then let the rest of it just drip on the floor. We'll let this cure for about 30 minutes. And then we can move on because this stuff sets up in about 5. And in an hour, it's fully cured, 24-hour, full working strength. So some really fast working stuff. And if you haven't watched the video, I did a test on a whole bunch of different glues. And this particular JB Weld, this one right here, clear weld, works the best. Cool. Now let's let it dry. All right, there it is, everybody, all fully installed. Actually, that color looks pretty good against that green. But there it is, fully installed, mounted. I mean, this thing is sturdy. It's going nowhere. So we ran the cable up. We put silicone in these holes. Yeah, we did put a couple small holes in here. But the nice thing is those can be reused over and over again for different transducers, different cabling, whatever you want to do. And we've got the old fish finder up front here mounted, right behind the captain's seat, right in front of the captain's seat. And all we got left to do is hook up the hot wire and the ground wire, and it's done. All right, folks, that's going to wrap it up for this episode of Michael's Backyard Marina. I hope you learned something. I hope you found this valuable and educational. If not, please leave a comment below of what I need to do different. Or don't. But don't forget to give me that thumbs up. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And we'll see you on the next video. This is Michael saying if it ain't broke, fix it till it is. And I'm out of here. Oh, hang around for the bonus footage. And then maybe some drone footage after that. See you guys. Okay, folks, we lost all my audio. So I'm showing you here that this back surface is not flat. I'm going to attempt to make it flat. I'm going to heat it up with my torch and see if I can massage it around with my rubber hammer like I have in the past. Once I beat on it a little bit, and I think I've got it beat into submission and flat enough, I'm going to double check it with my template. And yes, it is good enough. So next step is to, take a black Sharpie and outline it with on the black boat. Makes it easy to see. After I'm done with that, I'm going to take my grinder, grind up the surface. So I've got a nice prepared surface like this. It's rough. It'll hold the glue. And now I'm going to clean it here in a second. Yep, there it is, with some acetone. So that way it gets rid of all the dust, debris, and any oil surfaces there. Here I'm showing you that I'm going to use 2 full tubes of stuff because I now have 8 pockets on this particular one, where in the past I've only had 4 pockets to fill. So we've cleaned that up. I'm using this JB Weld 5-minute epoxy, and I'm pulling off some tape to prepare to hold it in place. So get your tape pulled off like this and get it prepared to hold in place. I'm emptying 2, count it, 2 entire containers of this JB Weld because it's going to take that to fill in all the pockets plus cover the surfaces I need it to be covered. Mix it thoroughly. Remember, this is only 5-minute epoxy, so once you start mixing it, you got about 5 minutes. I spent about a minute mixing it thoroughly, and then I use it. If you ever put cake batter in a pan, I'm kind of scraping it off in there, letting it fill those pockets up nice and full, so it gets full, adhesion in there and fills that pocket up so it holds it tight. Once you get it full, get that sucker placed up in there in the spot where it needs to be. It's okay when stuff drips off the bottom. Make sure it doesn't drip on anything you have value of it or that you care about. Let's put it that way. And I just kind of work it around a little bit, make sure I'm kind of squeezing things out around, getting that stuff. Don't want to leave it too thick. Once you get it, pressed in place to where you feel pretty good about it, get your tape it in place. Believe it or not, that little bit of tape was holding it in place after about 30 seconds. But then she's solid, and we're ready to pull the tape off in a little bit.